Hey everybody, this is Pastor Sam. We are still going through the marriage and the home devotionals. Today's theme is a very exciting one for me, even though I have not experienced it yet, but I see the importance of it in my interactions with people around me. The theme is the power of a praying parent. The power of a praying parent. I want you to understand that prayer is something that ought to be done for everybody. Prayer is something that a spouse ought to do for their partner, something a friend should do for a friend, something a pastor should do for a member. But one of the most important prayers that is out there is the prayers of a parent for their children. The Bible says in 3 John verse 4, it says that there's more joy in the fact that children ought to love and live in the truth. And so any parent who desires for their child to live in the truth, that's a powerful prayer right there. Real quick, today I want to go through 7 areas of your child's life that you need to be praying for. The first one is their salvation, obviously. There's nothing more important that a parent ought to be praying for than for their child to be saved. The salvation of your child ought to matter more than their career, more than who they spend the rest of their life with, more than who they live with and where they live and what goes on in their personal life. You ought to be praying more for your child to be saved. The second thing that you need to be praying for is the character of your child. It seems to me that most parents are more interested in how much money their children have than in the impact they have in society. But I want you to know that your children are a reflection of you, and whatever they do reflects the person that you claim to be. So you need to be praying that your kids not only reflect the values that you've taught them, but that they reflect Jesus Christ himself. The third thing that you need to be praying for is the relationships in your child's life. Now understand, again, most parents spend more time deciding who their children ought to spend the rest of their life with rather than praying about it. If you spend more time praying about it, you'd spend less time getting involved in their business. But you as a parent ought to be praying that your children associate with the right kind of people. And understand also that when you pray for their relationships, it's not just about marriage. It's about their friends growing up. It's about who they go into business with. It's about the kind of people that influence their decisions. Because at the end of the day, your children spend more time out of the house than they do in the house. So remember, you need to be praying for their relationships. Another thing you should pray for is their joy and their happiness. If you're praying for your children's joy, it means you are less concerned about your happiness because of their choices, but you're more concerned that they are happy. And if you pray for joy in your child's life, that will bring joy in your life. So don't forget to pray for the joy of your kids, because when they're happy, you are happy. Something else you ought to be praying about is their protection. Understand that we don't wrestle against flesh and blood. We wrestle against principalities, against dark forces that are trying to destroy the home. All the bad stuff that happens on the streets, it all started in the home. It all began because different values and certain things happened in the child's life. So don't forget to pray for your children's protection. You also be praying for their future. Not only should you be controlling their future, but you should be praying for their future. That ultimately they achieve the goals that God desires for them. That they achieve the values and the systems that you've placed in their path. And then finally, don't forget to pray that your child remains faithful until Jesus comes again. You ought to be proud as a parent when your child's faith is like Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego as they were threatened with a fiery furnace. They stood firm. These are the 7 things you ought to be praying for in your child's life. Number 1, their salvation. Number 2, their character. Number 3, their relationships. Number 4, their joy. Number 5, you ought to be praying for their protection. You need to pray for their future. And finally, pray for their faithfulness. May God bless you as you try to instill these values through your prayers in your child's life. God bless you.